Welcome to Football with Cheese. I am Cheese. In the last video, we talked about the AFC matchups. We did a preview and broke down those games. In this one, we'll do the NFC. Before we get to that, I'm going to go ahead and do a separate video for Rams-Vikings. That's not till Monday. I'm going to probably do that tomorrow before the Bills-Broncos game starts. So look for that. I'm just going to break down two games in this video. Someone in the last video suggested I get a green screen. That's the goal. Get something. I'm in an apartment right now. I don't want to cover the walls, so I'm just sitting on the couch and recording these videos. But yeah, green screen's probably the ultimate goal. Can put highlights in the background. That'd be something pretty cool. So, NFC games. We'll start with the Packers-Eagles. I don't know what to do with the Packers. I don't know which Packer team will show up. I don't like talking about coaching too much in these previews until we get further on in the playoffs. But I just want to mention Matt LaFleur real quick. A lot of people just talk about him in the media like he's this greatest coach. And I think he's a good coach. But he has horrible time management issues. That cost him the Bears game by calling a timeout instead of letting the clock run down. When the game is on the line or the half, he just loses it somehow. He's not very good at that at all. There are other games where right before halftime they take way too much time and don't even get in field goal range or have to settle for a long field goal when they should be going for a touchdown. I don't know why. Maybe because he calls the plays, he's focused on that. And I'm a Packer fan. I cover all 32 teams, watch from all 32 teams. I'm a Packer fan, so I watch all their games. I don't want him to stop calling plays because he's a very good play caller, a very good play designer. And that's what makes him a very good coach. But he's not one of the best coaches in the league or a top 5 coach like some people say. No way. Not in my opinion. And if you watch their losses, 5 of their 6 losses this year were against the Vikings, Lions, and Eagles. And all 3 of those teams have really good defensive coordinators. In all those games, they got down. They got behind. In all 4 Vikings-Lions games, they got down 2 scores in the first half. And that tells me their defensive coordinators were ready for what Green Bay was doing on offense. Green Bay lost 3 of them by less than 3 points, by 3 or fewer points. They lost the Vikings by 2 both times, lost to the Lions by 3 at Detroit. LaFleur's a good coach, a lot better than Mike McCarthy, but he's got to figure out these time management issues, and he's got to start better. All these games they get off to bad starts, they do not win. And when they get off to good starts and get ahead, they win. That's really going to be the key. If they get down 10-0 or 14-0 to the Eagles, they're not going to win. That's pretty much the Packers season. Against good teams with good defense coordinators, they got behind and they lost. On defense, Packers last year had maybe one of the worst safety groups in the league. Now it's one of the best. Xavier McKinney, one of the best free agent pickups, terrific safety. Evan Williams has been a very good rookie. He has been out the last few weeks, and it showed. The thing on defense that hurts is Jair Alexander is out for the season, and their corners weren't even very good before he got hurt. Carrington Valentine, I'll say this, has stepped up. He's been playing better. But corner is a weakness on this team. And what's happened is defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley has had to play more zone. And what teams have done, they've exploited that. The middle of the field's been open. I remember when they were playing the Dolphins on Thanksgiving night. Dolphins got way behind. It was like 24-3, 27-3. But they noticed something. Mike McDaniel, the coach of the Dolphins, likely at halftime noticed something. The middle of the field, when the Packers dropped in zone, was wide open. Packers just don't have a good middle linebacker in coverage. They were doing a lot of in-breaking routes, a lot of crossing routes. They were just basically hitting the middle of the field with tight ends or receivers, and it worked. And other teams have started copying that since then. So the middle of the field has been a problem. They've been playing a lot of cover 2 and a lot more zone. And I know that Jeff Hafley, from his press conference when he was hired this year, he wants to play press man, but they don't have the personnel for it. So the middle of the field's wide open. I don't know what they're going to do with A.J. Brown. More on that in a second. Edgerrin Cooper's been a terrific rookie. Another great rookie for them. He's been one of the best off-ball linebackers in the league. And Rashawn Gary is pretty much the only really good pass rusher. If they don't blitz, he might be the only consistent pass rusher they have. They don't get enough pass rush. But the key, of course, will be they've got to stop the run. If they get behind and Saquon Barkley goes off, they're cooked. And the defense has got to force turnovers. They've got to force. Jalen Hurts might be the only weakness on the Eagles. He's not a bad quarterback. He's just not a great quarterback. And if the Packers, they're going to have to force turnovers to win this game. On offense, so Christian Watson out for the year really hurts this offense. He has some drop issues. He's not the most consistent playmaker, but he can make plays. His size and his speed down the field. And when you don't have that, it's easier to scheme. When someone does not have a deep threat, you can play more man. And that's what the opposing team's been doing. They've been playing man. The Green Bay did really well last year against man coverage, but this year they have not been nearly as effective against man. Like in the playoff game last year where the Packers upset the Cowboys, Romeo Doubs had this monster game. Part of the reason he was so open on a couple of those plays downfield was Christian Watson was sent on like a 9 route or a post and got a corner and a safety running with him, clearing the safety out, and that allowed Romeo Doubs to find a spot wide open in the middle of the field, and he had a monster game against the Cowboys. You're not going to be able to do that without Christian Watson playing. He tore his ACL. He's out for the season. So it's much easier to scheme Green Bay. They got to run the ball with Josh Jacobs. They got to get ahead, and they got to run the ball. Josh Jacobs has been incredible pickup in the offseason. What's funny is Green Bay, their two best players this year were free agent pickups, Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney. And Jordan Love, he's not been quite as sharp of late. He has stretches where he looks like he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and other stretches looks like he's just a guy. He hasn't been super sharp of late. He's coming off an injury to the elbow. Looks like he's fine. He practiced fully. He should be fine. But he just can't turn the ball over, and he's just got to make some plays on third down. He's got to move the chains on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. He doesn't have to throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns because they have the running game with Josh Jacobs. He can't turn the ball over. He can't make mistakes, and he can't miss throws. And lately it seems like there's 3 or 4 throws he just misses a game. And he's got to be better about that. As far as the Eagles go, their defense is way better than last year. Obviously, they got a better coordinator, but they don't really have a weakness on defense. If you look at them, they're good everywhere. They have really good off-ball linebackers. Probably an underrated group. Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond. Just want to highlight them. They've been terrific this year. But the defensive line's good. The corners are good. The safeties are solid. They're good everywhere. So it's a tough defense to beat. Just looking at the matchup, the Eagles just look better. They just look better. They have fewer weaknesses. Let's put it that way. They have fewer weaknesses than the Packers do. And A.J. Brown's one of the best receivers in the NFL. Saquon Barkley, one of the best or the best running back in the league. He really torched Green Bay in week 1. And their offensive line's one of the best in the league. So, yeah, the key, like I said, is Jalen Hurts. You've got to force, if you're the Packers, you've got to get him to turn the ball over. If you do, you're in good shape. And we'll pick that at the end. Okay. Washington, Tampa, Sunday Night Football. So Washington's a really interesting team. They're not really very good on the offensive line or the defensive line. And if you look at all the best teams, they're good on both. Like the Eagles, for example. So it's strange they did make the playoffs. Most teams you can get, if you're good at one or the other, if you're really good on the offensive line, maybe on the defensive line, you can make the playoffs. But it's strange that a team is below average at both and made the playoffs. On defense, Washington's Marshawn Lattimore is a great pickup in a trade with the Saints. His matchup with Mike Evans is going to be one to watch. Jaden Daniels, on offense. Obviously, he's the number 2 overall pick, Heisman Trophy winner. Great pick. He's had a great season. Probably Rookie of the Year. It's either him or Brock Bowers. He's been tremendous. And Terry McLaurin, I need to mention, terrific receiver. Somehow is still underrated. He's not talked about enough. I watched Washington play a lot this year. And it seems like he's their only real weapon, only real playmaker on offense besides Jaden Daniels. It seems like they cover him one-on-one a lot. If I'm scheming Washington, I'm not covering Terry McLaurin one-on-one. I'm putting a safety over top. It just seems all these plays, it's when he beats man coverage one-on-one. That's when Terry McLaurin keeps making plays. Like against Cincinnati, that game was a perfect example. You just can't cover him one-on-one. He's too good. So I think Tampa's got to put a safety over top. Don't let Terry McLaurin beat you. Don't let him beat you, and you'll be fine. On Tampa's side, Tampa's defense, it's probably about league average. It's solid. It's not great. I like watching Vita Vea play. He's listed at 350 pounds, but he's got to be 370, 375 at least. At least. But he's fun to watch. And I read they're going to get Antoine Winfield back at safety. That's huge. He's a terrific safety. That will solidify the back end. On offense, so Tampa Bay, they have a very good offense. It really hurts losing Chris Godwin for the year. That horrific injury. The combination of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin was so good. But they've actually been okay without Godwin, surprisingly. Mike Evans is, every year, he's been terrific. He missed a few games, but he's been terrific just like he always is. He's so big, and he'll go up and catch anything. And Baker Mayfield, the quarterback, every game he's going to give you 3 or 4 plays that you can maybe intercept. He's going to do something crazy. He does this. So you've got to take advantage of that. And some teams do and some teams don't. But I think that's a big key of the game. Baker Mayfield, don't make mistakes. If he doesn't make mistakes, I think Tampa's in great shape. And I think they score a lot of points. But if you can get pressure on Baker and make him do foolish things, that's how you stop the Tampa offense. And Bucky Irving, let me mention him as well. Rookie running back's been terrific. What a great 3rd-round pick out of Oregon. Okay. Here we go. Eagles -5. Interesting. So the Eagles are 8-1 at home. But Green Bay has been very good on the road, and they covered a lot of road spreads. I don't know what to do with that. Can I skip it? No, I can't skip it. Tampa Bay -3. Do you know that Washington has a better road record than Tampa Bay has home record? That's crazy. Tampa actually beat Detroit and Philadelphia, are the top 2 seeds. So they've had some great wins and they have some bad losses. But they did have some injuries to receivers in the middle of the year. I think Tampa wins this. I think they score a lot of points on Washington's defense. So I'm going to take them -3. I think Tampa's that team you just don't want to play because they can go off for 40 points any day with that offense. So I think Tampa will get it. I'm taking them -3. And I'm going to take the Eagles -5. I just think that without Christian Watson, without Jair Alexander, and I think Saquon Barkley's going to have a great game. I just don't think it's a good matchup for Green Bay. If they get down 10-0 or 14-0 after the first quarter, I think they're cooked. I think the Eagles win. I don't think they blow them out, but I think the Eagles win and cover the 5. Okay, that'll do it. Like I said, Rams, Vikings, look for that video tomorrow. A lot of crazy things going on in that game. Subscribe, follow me on X at Football Cheese, spelled like Cheez-It, and enjoy the games.